Votre Excellence,
Excellency
William Ruto,
Dr. William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, our host,
Votre Excellence,
Excellency,
Monsieur le chef d'État et de
heads
gouvernement,
of government, heads of
Votre Excellence,
states,
chef de délégation,
heads of delegations,
Monsieur le Président de la Commission de
the
l'Union
chair
africaine,
of African Union Commission,
Madame la Secrétaire Générale,
Madam Secretary
COMESA,
General of COMESA,
Mesdames, Messieurs,
ladies and
les chefs
gentlemen,
des organisations régionales,
heads of regional organizations,
distingués invités,
distinguished
Mesdames, Messieurs,
guests,
protocole observé.
ladies and gentlemen, all
Rendons
protocols
grâce à Dieu
observed.
Tout-Puissant,
We
lui
thank
qui nous a
God
permis
who has allowed us to meet here in this beautiful city of Nairobi in the Republic of Kenya during this 24th summit of heads of state and heads of government of the Common Market COMESA. Allow me, first and foremost, to express my gratitude and that of my delegation to the host for the warm hospitality that we are observing here since we put foot on this marvelous country. Excellencies, Excellency President Dr. William Ruto, thanks very much indeed. And through you, sir, we thank the government and the Kenyan people, to whom I also greet from your friend and brother country, Burundi. Heads of state, ladies and gentlemen, a year now, during the 23rd COMESA summit, which was held in Bujumbura in the Republic of Burundi, you gave me the important task to preside the destiny of our organization. I accepted without a lot of enthusiasm, because Burundi is in the philosophy of the founding of COMESA as an organization of sovereign states and independent, who have agreed to cooperate to benefit from natural resources for the betterment of our populations. Burundi, just like other countries of our organization, doesn't separate the question of development and the idea of peace and security. In this regard, my country has played the important role as a very convinced member state that peace and security development, this is available and possible if we work together. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, during the year, now time has come to see what we have achieved, to consolidate our gains, but as well to see what we have as weaknesses so that we can transform them to strengths. I like to thank my colleagues, heads of state, heads of government, for their precious support. I equally express my sincere gratitude to Madame, the General Secretary of COMESA, Madame Chilese Mpundu Kapwepo, and her team for their commitment and their hard work so that we can go forward with our vision and our common objectives. Excellencies, I had the privilege to guide the Secretariat in the last phase of implementation of the strategic plan 2021-2025, which was launched in 2021. This project has 4 pillars: market integration, productive integration, physical connectivity and infrastructure, as well as social integration and gender equity. This strategic plan has played a very important role as we follow the vision of COMESA, and this will be possible if we have cooperation and integration in all development domains, especially trade, infrastructure, monetary issues, ITC, industry, gender equity, agriculture, and environment. A number of important steps have been covered during this period. When it comes to market integration, even if some member states have liberalized their customs, the trade intra-COMESA went to 14 billion during the year 2024. This is explained by, among others, implementation of digital instruments like a flexible origin, role of origin, the yellow card regime, guarantees for transit at the customs, online surveillance of non-tariff barriers, and others. COMESA has equally fine-tuned instruments like the simplified trade regime to work at the borders so that to help women, youth, and this regime is a concern to a number of small-scale traders. To date, just 8 member states have implemented this simplified trade regime in view to help all that regards trade at the border level. For Burundi and the DRC, this simplified trade regime is going to be launched this month of October 2025 to facilitate cross-border trade, help the small-scale traders, amongst who we have women and youth. Member states are supposed to adopt this instrument because it's going to help our small-scale traders at the border level to carry out their activities without problems. COMESA is encouraging liberalization of service in service, financial services, transport, communication, tourism, and infrastructure. This is going to allow us to have new opportunities to develop our intra-COMESA trade. We hope that the private sector is going to leverage on a liberalized market, given that this simplified trade regime is not just for trade, but to empower our SMEs, and a majority of them are under the hands of women and youth. Excellencies, invited guests, productive integration of COMESA has allowed member states to stimulate their regional competitiveness, security, that's food security, and have investments that are resilient to climate change. During the past year, the region has had major achievements in the agricultural sector, because we have a detailed program for development of the agricultural sector post-Malabo, and we have come up with national plans of investment in the agricultural sector dealing with food security, and we have equally adopted strategic measures that is going to allow us to manage water resources and others. All this is going to have us get resilient when it comes to climate change. The governments and the private sector now have data, real-time data for seasonal planning for crops as well as trade. And its second phase of extension has enlarged the coverage and brought about tools that target small-scale holders, especially women and youth. Livestock fisheries has seen achievements and improvements when it comes to veterinary services to fight better diseases, and now we have initiatives that target markets. This is specifically for pastoral communities. The Blue Economy Program is continuing to promote the sustainable management of fisheries and the products coming from there. Regional government, given the role that has been played by the continent to date. For industrial development and value addition, COMESA has supported modernization of key sectors such as agro-industry and the pharmaceutical industry. And this is through targeted aid for the local context. This has increased the competitiveness of SMEs and the creation of employment, especially for the enterprises that are owned by youth and women. We have an industrial park, Zambie, Zimbabwe, and there are initiatives to enlarge this and to strengthen collaboration when it comes to value chains and harmonization of standards in the pharmaceutical sector, and this thanks to capacity building when it comes to regulation and the laboratory aspects. Now we have sustainable investments that have helped COMESA to have some achievements when it comes to inclusive and sustainable investments. These investments went from 12% from direct foreign investment to 22%, and this thanks to renewable energy and resilient agriculture, especially in Egypt and Kenya. This direct foreign investment towards COMESA that has gone from 55% to get to $65,000 billion in 2024. This is the highest growth for the other economic blocks. Egypt, Ethiopia, Uganda, DRC have represented 90% of the total of direct foreign investment in the region. Excellencies, heads of state, heads of government, distinguished delegates. The regional integration program of COMESA depends on our capacity to have in place good infrastructure, which is going to allow people to move around, goods to move around across our borders. When it comes to free movement of persons and goods, 21st October 2023, the summit that was held in Bujumbura, I know now that members from member states of COMESA came without paying visa for a short stay in Burundi, because we look forward to improve finally the question of visa. Beyond that, we have strategic corridor, we have border posts, one-stop border posts. This is an priority. We need to improve our corridors so that we can ease the movement of people and goods. The program of transit facilitation implemented by SADC and EAC, this has contributed to harmonize the regional regulations when it comes to road transport and transit systems. This has allowed to reduce until 30% the time that is taken at the borders in our pilot corridors. However, under investment, inadequate maintenance, this limits the competitiveness of COMESA when it comes to regional logistics at the regional level and at the world level. We have had now good mobile coverage and up to 90% in most of our countries. Among other achievements in ICT, we could say coming up with the harmonized framework for roaming and interconnection and free access to fiber optic. This thanks to a program that is going on in the Indian Ocean, Southern Africa, Eastern Africa, with the support of the EU. However, internet connection is at 40% in the rural areas in most of the member states. We need to bridge this numeric or digital gap. As we look forward to do away with this gap, we thank the World Bank, which has invested 42.2 billion, and this is targeting inclusive digitization in Africa. This initiative looks forward to increase the users of fast-speed internet, and this will help a lot of women during the 8 years of implementation of the project. Energy connectivity remains an obstacle for industrialization and regional integration. In COMESA, EAC, SADC, we have just had very small progress when it comes to trade in electricity in the region during the time 2021-25. Given less electricity and lack of policies when it comes to prices that are not harmonized. In the energy sector, we could say we have come up with standards to deal with the solar. We have frameworks for PPPs and capacity strengthening when it comes to funding of this infrastructure, as given by the World Bank and other initiatives that look forward to fast-track the efforts to have affordable energy. This program is going to make sure that we have clean energy, targeting 100 million members of the population, putting emphasis on access to renewable energy. Ladies and gentlemen, heads of state, heads of government, distinguished guests, the theme to optimize digitization, to strengthen value chains, to have inclusion and sustainable work. As we work together to have this integration, when all this is used correctly, ICT tools can reduce the cost of transactions, improve transparency of the supply chains, and optimize logistics. And this is why all the enterprises of COMESA are going to become competitive, not just at the regional level, but at the world arena. As you know, major obstacles of trade in Africa is the absence of transport infrastructure and integrated logistics supported with technology like blockchain, AI, and cloud computing, and others. The usage, correct use of these technologies is going to contribute to guarantee production processes, distribution which is efficient and effective. This is going to make sure that at the border level, work is done, be it at the social aspect, etc. COMESA has put in place very targeted programs to empower the youth and the women. We have a digital platform. 50 million African women have the floor, and this is put in place through initiatives that enable the youth to come up with policies. It's very important for us all to work towards empowering women and the youth in the region. Trainings are proposed to women to help them to come up with ideas, to develop their ideas. We encourage women, youth, to be in leadership and participate in decision-making processes so that we can have gender equity. When it comes to the government governance program on peace and security, COMESA concentrates on prevention of conflicts thanks to the structural assessment of vulnerabilities and strategies for mitigation. COMESA has very good cooperation in this work with the Department of Peace and Security from the African Union Commission and the assessment by peers. Elections are going on in a number of COMESA countries. Heads of state, heads of government, distinguished guests. Despite the successes, we have challenges to deal with when it comes to integration. We have the responsibility to see how we allow our traders to move freely in our region so that we can help them to respect the commitments at the continental level. We really need to work so that our integration program is a success. We need to resolve the paradox. We need integration, yes, but we depend heavily on external donors. So we see that this is reducing. To deal with this dependence, the Treaty of COMESA looks forward to have in place how we can have a common fund to go forward. So, ministers of COMESA, please work with the Secretariat so that we can achieve this. For the private sector, we need to have their active participation in the implementation of the policies that we come up with so that we can have structural transformation and economic diversification. We know the central role that enterprises play, and other institutions, as we look forward to mobilize the private sector so that we can be much more productive in our region, so that we can have development and economic growth. We have solid and efficient institutions that have continued to support our collaboration efforts, working hand in hand with the private sector for economic integration in the region. This partnership is supposed to be strengthened, and we thank the good work that has been done by our precious COMESA institutions in different sectors, be it in the finance, in regional investment, reassurance, and mitigation of investment, be it processing of products, and how we need to help women and youth in all that we are doing. To have an integrated REC, peace and ease, to call upon all member country governments to be concerned by the question of peace and security of their neighbor. It's when we have good neighborhoods that together we can have bigger projects and dream of a region and Africa without borders. Before I finish, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to reiterate my gratitude to every one of you for the support that you have given me during the past year. Thanks very much for your support. Thanks to that, I was able to participate in all these efforts so that we show the contribution of COMESA in international fora. Very specifically, I'd like to thank you, heads of state, heads of government, for the pieces of advice that you have given to the ministers that has given good leadership and stewardship. Sectorial, technical committees, the secretariat, thanks very much. You have worked diligently to have these achievements. I am going to give the presidency of the conference. I want to thank His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, who is the head of state of Kenya, who is going to take the chairmanship of our organization. Dear brother, Dr. William Ruto, you can count on my support, total support, and that of my government. Under your leadership, I'm assured that the vision of COMESA, being an integrated and competitive COMESA, this is going to improve the lives of our populations, so that we have a REC which is going to be prosperous. I like to thank most sincerely the Republic of Zambia, the rapporteur, outgoing rapporteur, for the support that you have given me. For institutions coming from my country, development partners, thanks very much to support COMESA and its institutions. Same gratitude to you. Excellencies, heads of state, heads of government, distinguished guests. To conclude, allow me to reaffirm that COMESA is committed fully so that we have Africa integration program on the right track. We need to remain united and speak in one voice, given the protection and the disturbance that we see in supply chains. We need to defend our vision, our aspirations, defending the 2063 Africa agenda for an Africa that is prosperous in the world arena. Heads of state, heads of government, Your Excellencies, and I declare open the work of the 24th Summit of COMESA. Long live COMESA, long live Africa. Everybody, thanks very much. Be blessed.
Votre Excellence, Mesdames, Messieurs, it is my honor to announce the new bill of our wonderful organization, COMESA. Now, the leadership will be held by the Republic of Kenya. The new chairman of COMESA Authority is His Excellency Dr. Samuel William Ruto. The vice chairmanship will be held by the Republic of Zimbabwe under the leadership of His Excellency Emerson Mnangagwa. Burundi will remain in the Bureau as Secretary. Excellencies, now it is my pleasure to invite my brother, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, for the handover. Thank you, welcome.
Will kindly request